Right, Trips, what's happening today, man? Fucking brilliant day today, innit? Took a wee walk down to the pet shop to get stuff for the snakes. Beautiful day, man. But humid as fuck, no? Um, but I wanted to come on last night and do a video about bullying in Kerelaw secure unit. Now, obviously, I didn't get to do it, but I thought I would come on and do it just now while my wee boy's away to his drop-in. But for those of you maybe haven't heard of Kerelaw Secure Unit, well, there's two parts to Kerelaw. Um, it was basically like a children's home. It was in Ayrshire. It's been knocked down now, but I believe it was opened in the 1970s or something. And there was two parts to Kerelaw. There was the secure unit, which is basically like there's bars on the windies, there's a 30 foot fence round it. There's only one door unlocked at a time. See, like that shit, you're ferried to and from wherever. Basically like prison for children, if I'm honest. But it's no a prison, if you get me. It's under the care system. Um, but there was also the bit known as the open school, which was basically a residential area that wasn't secure. You could walk straight out the front door if you want. But obviously, since I was a convicted child, I was classed as a convicted child, right? Because I was under 16. So after spending a week in Long End, young offenders, I was transferred to Kerelaw Secure Unit. Um, this was this was when I was 15, right, and I was remanded for the abducting two social workers, right, when I was 15. And when I'm so Long End, isn't it? It's been knocked down now, but that was like a remand prison. It was under the Scottish Prison Service, so it was a prison. You had to wear the prison uniform or that shit. But in Kerelaw, you wore your own clothes. The staff would take like a shopping list and go to the shop for you and buy you crisps, iron brew, fucking ice lollies, all that shit. I think they gave you pocket money every week, right? This is how weird it is. But when I first went there, I actually see the next day when I woke up, I was actually, and I'm being serious, I was actually considering asking to be moved back to Long End. And I think it was because when I went there was boys and there was girls, right? And some of them were serving prison sentences as well. I remember there was a young boy who was actually serving 4 years for getting into school with a shotgun or a sawn-off shotgun or something, because for what I heard, the boy never told me this himself, but the story I heard was he was being bullied in school and he walked in and fucking waved a gun about. So there was the other case that I think I'd made a video on before was Ricky Keefe, who was Scotland's youngest convicted killer. He'd murdered a 3-year-old child when he was like 11. Scumbag, man, not him. But when I first went there, like, I really felt out of my depth, which is quite strange to say because, funnily enough, I didn't feel like that in Long End. I know I was only there a week, but I'm a 15-year-old boy in a young offenders prison. But when I went to Kerelaw, there was just this atmosphere, and it was very cliquey. Like there was like these group of lassies that used to follow this group of boys about. Now there was these three boys, right? And I remember when I first went there that I just felt like everybody hated me, and because I had this chip in my shoulder, like it didn't take much to set me off, right? And I used to kind of hear these wee comments being made, and about maybe my appearance or whatever. And it would just fill me with this, how do I put it? It was just like pouring petrol on a fire, if I'm honest, because this was no long after my dad had died, right? And as I've said before, like, when you think of prison violence, like, if you've never been in prison, you can imagine the kind of things that go on. But I had already seen severe violence, committed severe violence, and been on the receiving end of severe violence before I ever set foot in any secure setting, be it Kerelaw, prison, whatever. So it was nothing new to me, do you know what I mean? And I'm not saying that like I'm boasting, it's just I was desensitised to extreme violence. It wasn't really a big deal, to be honest, back then. So when I went in there, as I've stated, there was a like I remember like feeling really. I found it really hard to mix with my peer group in here in the initial stages. And people would always kind of make wee comments and say this and that at the start, right? And there was a couple of lassies especially who were in my unit that were being very, I don't want to say vindictive, but they were being vocal about me. Like, I remember one of them said, your girlfriend might be pregnant, but her face isn't, right? So I remember I was being restrained by members of staff. So being restrained meaning pressure point wrist locks, right? Like fucking, it's like a martial arts technique, to be fair. I would class it as that. Now, I'm a 15-year-old kid and I was on the flare and I was going absolutely fucking crazy, screaming, I'm gonna kill all of you, you're all fucking dead. Just, the anger was just explosive. And I remember one of the boys, so one of the lassies I was arguing with, her boyfriend was walking past me as I was being restrained, and he said something like, haha, look at the fucking state of him or something. And I was like, you wait, mate. So I was dragged to a separation cell, which is basically a concrete cell, like a prison cell. It's got like a wee slit in the concrete wall where they can observe you, or that shit. And they left me in there at like 10 o'clock at night till the night shift came on. And when I went back to my normal room that night, the guy in the room across from me shouted on me and said, so and so wants to take you a square go tomorrow. Square go meaning a fair fight, but I didn't for 1 second believe this was going to be a fair fight. And the boy who I'm talking about, who wanted to fight me, was the boy who was laughing when I was being fucking carted, right? So I'm like, I fucking tell him I'll see him tomorrow. But this boy was always with these two other boys, right? The three of them were always together. But they weren't for the same area or nothing, they were just on the same unit. And when I went downstairs the next day to get ready to go to education, where I was meant to be fighting this boy, right? You could have cut this atmosphere with a knife. Everybody was looking at me and nobody was saying anything. Even the staff, I felt like they knew what was about to happen. But weren't they taking preventative measures? And I believe, nowadays believe, that in the initial stages of me being in Kerelaw, that these staff members had such a dislike for me, right? And rightfully so, I believe, because of my self-presentation. It didn't matter who you were or what you said. Like, if you'd done something to trigger me, I just felt almost this urge to do something about it, right? So it was as if they were just like, fuck that wee bastard, hope he gets done in and all that. I was like, aye, right. So that was in my mind at the time. So I'm like, I'm just not even giving this boy a chance to even fight me. He's getting dealt with, assaulted, So I'm like, what can I use? So what I done was I asked, it's alright if I get a game of pool, can I get the pool balls at the office? And they're like, no, it's 8:30 in the morning, you're not allowed to play pool until night time. Like, alright, because I was going to get a pool ball and a sock, right? So I'm like, right, plan B, what can I do? So went into the the tower the shower area and took a see like a bar of Imperial Era. It was in a like a wee cardboard box or something, like the wee cardboard box you get in it, and put it in a sock, tied a knot in it and put it down my trousers. So I'm walking up to education, right, and there's like a set of stairs, like maybe 5 or 6 stairs, right? And this boy's standing right at the top of these stairs, staring at me as I'm walking towards him, right? And the staff are all like standing there and everything. The staff were there, right? And everybody's just looking right at me, right? It's like everybody knew it was as if they were waiting for me to get battered and curl up in a ball or start greeting or whatever. But they didn't know that I had been primed for this setting way before I ended up in it. Um, when I got close enough to him, he just leaped right off the top of the stairs with his arm cocked back, right? And I've just whipped out this fucking soak and just whacked him right between the eyes, man. They just fucking like slid right down the wall, right? And the lassie was gone me started screaming abuse at me. Like she tried to go for me, to be honest. She tried to go for me, but she got held back. And the staff all jumped on me, the fucking wrist locks. And it was even worse than the last time, if I'm honest. And the boys who I thought were going to help him never done it, but obviously I didn't know they were going to or weren't going to do anything, because in these places, if you're going to fight with one person, you can better believe he's probably got a pal that's going to help him. It's just the way it is in prison in these places. But I get took to I had brand new Nike Air Max trainers, and the staff took my trainers off me just after I whacked them so that I couldn't lash out with my feet, and my trainers went missing and all that. Like one of the lassies, they flung my trainers up in the roof and know what I mean. But anyway, so if anybody you want to look at that, the events leading up to this could be classed as bullying if you want to look at it like that. Do you know what I mean? And I think everybody's got an experience of bullying, but see when you're in a place like this, to me it's magnified. It seems a lot worse, or it sounds a lot worse. And I remember when I get brought out the separation cell, they took me into this boy's unit, sat me down in front of him, and to be honest, I actually met this boy years later in Pullman and in an adult prison, and we got on as if nothing had ever happened, which is I don't know, it was actually quite good, to be honest, because I actually think the boy is alright. We were just 15-year-old boys in a fucking dog eat dog setting, and obviously sometimes you come off worse. It's happened to me myself, know what I mean? So no sitting getting at the fucking the big act, know what I mean? But it always seemed like there was some after that, like I wouldn't say I was being the target. I wouldn't say I was targeted after that. It was like I became more accepted, which is kind of telling, because it's like, do you actually have to use violence as a kind of conflict resolution strategy before your peer group, or oh, you're all right now, like am I, like did I have to do that for you to see that? And maybe I was getting off vibes myself, because when I first went there, as I say, like I would just sit in the corner and play the computer, like because I just felt something heavy weird in here, and I think that was why I wanted to go back to the prison, because it was like I just don't feel at place. But there was actually one time I seen a staff member hitting one of the people in there. I believe the guy's dead now, and he was actually good to me. So I don't want to kind of go there about him, but it just kind of shows you like these places are just, know what I mean. And the funny thing is, I remember there was a there's an inquiry into this place now that I didn't even really know about. And the weird thing is, hold on, I shut that door. Some mad Wayne's out there going tonto. So there was I remember when I was in Kerelaw, right, there was this lassie that I knew in there who everybody used to say stuff to and all that. She was always arguing with people, but I just think she wasn't a bad person. I just think she had issues, right? And there was rumours of her meant to be having a relationship with a staff member, not in the secure unit, in the open part. And I remember seeing this wee fucking specky creep. And see, the weird thing is, see, since I've googled this, now I didn't know this at the time, and obviously I'd heard there's meant to be people who who worked in Kerelaw who've went to prison, and when I googled this, like last night, this guy's face came up, and he'd done time for abuse of people in there, which is fucked up. Like, and there's got people came forward saying, "Aye, he done this to me, he done that to me." Like, and some of the things that I'm hearing went on in this place. Like, I got off light, like maybe getting fucking bent up, punched during a fight, whatever. But it wasn't a nurturing environment, just let me say that. And it's not somewhere where I'd ever want my kid to be, because if I'm being brutally honest, if I touch wood, like none of your kids ever end up in a place like this, but if I heard one of these guys put their hands on my kid, it would just trigger the side of me that I keep contained. And it's like I always say, like, don't believe for a second that anybody who has a past like mine, oh, he's rehabilitated. No, what he's got now is he's got a fucking life and a bit of wisdom about him now, but take all that away, and if he's got nothing, then there's just no telling what could happen. Now I value life, I value freedom, I value I value my own life, but I also value other people's as well. And the weird thing is, I remember saying to my son the day, like, how I was telling him about something, right? We were walking past a place where I'd committed a violent offence before, right? And I was telling him about it, and I was like, the weird thing is, now I would look at somebody like me who done that, and I go, yeah, wee prick, you're out of order, whatever, but it's just fucking, whereas see, years ago I would be like, must have deserved it, you know what I mean? Like, that was my attitude. But the thing about, when I'm talking about Kerelaw, right, that wasn't the only violent incident I found myself in. I remember, as I had said before, me and this guy arguing over a microwave, and I flicked a dish towel and whacked him right in the eye. It was like a bullseye shot, man. And he fucking just hooked his a belter, man, and I think I was just enraged that this guy even lifted his hands, man, and I went mental, and I was fucking whacking him with a fire extinguisher or not, and try to grab him at the same time, and he got away from me, and he flung a cup, like a ceramic cup, and it smashed over my head and cut my head open. I was bleeding. It's always the wee cuts that I find are that bleed the most. Or they start, because the woman, it was a woman teacher, it was in a home ec class in the secure unit. The woman's up the riot bell, man, and she was screaming. I think she was just screaming because I must have just had a pure look on my face, man. 16-year-old at the time, just turned 16 maybe, and I was fucking raging, man, but flicking somebody with a fucking dish towel, giant's gonna fucking happen. You're in a place like this, so that's kinda, could be classed as bullying, do you know what I mean? But this, he wasn't a wee boy by any stretch of the fucking imagination. He was a boy like myself, you know what I mean? So he was gone for it. But these are just the type of things that go on in here. So and it gives me the fear to think, like, some it's just so sad, some of the backstories you're seeing of people who that are in these places, do you know what I mean? It's quite heartbreaking, if I'm honest, man. And like, I wasn't in there because like my mum and dad gave me up and all that shit, like, but there was kids in there because like their mum and dad maybe flung them out, they were living on the streets or they had to commit crime to fucking live or whatever. It's just so fucking sad, man. Do you know what I mean? And you don't want that for your kid or MD's kid. Um, kids need to, kids are moulded, do you know what I mean? And they learn from adults. I don't believe kids are born bad. I believe there's just things that happen in their life that maybe traumas that shape them. Like my dad dying when I was just turning 14 just set me right off, man. And I was projecting the kind of unresolved issues with my dad's death onto people in other schemes who were behaving the same way that I did. So it was like almost as if I was like, they had caused it. Do you know what I mean? That was like the way I was acting. But as I always say, I'm just so fortunate that I believe I'm so fortunate that I made it out the other end of all that. It was almost like getting flushed out of a toilet and coming out the other end, actually making it. Do you know what I mean? Whereas there's a lot of people that get caught up in the cycle of offending, crime, addiction, alcoholism, whatever you want to call it, and they just don't make it back. And I do believe that there should be help for a lot of people like us, but at the same time, we need to show evidence of change. I shouldn't just walk out of jail after 16 years or whatever, and it's like, oh, they're your job, they're this, they're that, they're that. No, I should be given tools to work towards all this shit, but at the same time, show that I don't have pro-criminal attitudes, pro-violence, or this kind of shit. Do you know what I mean? Obviously, I still know a lot of people that are like that, but at the end of the day, that's their life, this is my life, you know what I mean? I'm not judging them for it because that was me, do you know what I mean? Fuck's sake. It's just, and I was written off at the age of 21, do you know what I mean? And made it back with a degree which wasn't really worth the fucking paper it was printed on, but in terms of how useful it's been, but at the same time, I feel like I took something back. I didn't just go in there and come out fucking worse than I went in. I bettered myself in a way, do you know what I mean? So, I take that away from it. Know what I mean? But so many people don't, in prison, especially in Britain, anywhere, most places, prisons aren't known for being nurturing environments, like nurturing reform and rehabilitation. Not a fucking chance, mate. We're opening the papers every other day, somebody's dying in the jail, do you know what I mean? And it's the drugs. You know what I mean? It's just fucked up, man. They're just getting worse. But anyway, bit of a digression for Kerelaw there, wasn't it? But I just wanted to talk about that because when I done the video about bullying and empowerment, like, bullying is definitely worse in these young offender settings. It's like, if you're the person doing it, you're not the person it's happening to. And other people try and egg people on and all that kind of stuff in the young offenders and that. I've not been in for a while, not been in the young offenders for an extreme long while, but at the end of the day, it's just the same problem with a different face. It's just different people, but it's the same issues that we're hearing about all the time. Do you know what I mean? But I'm going to leave it there. I hope you enjoyed that, but enjoy the rest of the day, man. It's warm. So, hope you're having a good day, and I'll see you next time I'm on, so cheers for tuning in.